Okay, so this is coming from a track called Tsukuba Circuit. It's a mile and a quarter, 9-turn road course. So let's do the reconnaissance lap here. So this is coming onto the front straightaway. You got a long turn coming on the front straightaway. Use all the track. Coming down into turn one, brake super hard here. Try to stay inside towards the exit of the turn, and then get back on the throttle at the right point. It's easy to get on the throttle too early. Coming into kind of a hairpin here. It's a little bit tricky. It's okay to use a little bit of the curb, not too much, but then you end up drifting out kind of wide there. This turn is quite tricky to get the car turned quickly enough, and then getting back on the throttle, coming to the left, but not too hard because the rear end can step out. Braking hard again, another tight hairpin. You want to stay again close to the inside. That was too far up from the apex. You get back on the throttle hard. And then now you're coming to that final turn that leads on the front straightaway. You want to brake in a straight line here, stay kind of wide, turn late, late apex coming right towards the curb here. That was pretty good. And run out wide. Now this is the qualifying lap here that I used. And let's watch the inputs here on the steering and on the pedals. Watch the counter steering. I think this is a qualifying lap. Turning right, turning right, turning left, and then correcting back, correcting left, correcting right, back on the brake, holding it to the inside late, getting back on throttle hard, getting ready to correct. There's a quick correction right there. So lots of steering going on. These cars are, I think, about 500 horsepower and about, I think, just under 3,000 pounds. Um, they are a handful. There's no ABS in these cars either. So trying not to lock up is a key thing to both to save the tires and to get your turning in. So, all right, let's get to the race. Um, the other thing is these cars. Let me see if I can get a side view here. Uh, so the car has the engine in the back. It's a rear engine, rear wheel drive car, which is kind of a Porsche thing. Uh, I don't think there's any other cars in the world that uh, have this layout. There's sports cars that have a mid-engine rear-wheel drive, like a Formula One car, but this is, I think, the only car and the only car company that focuses on a rear engine, rear-wheel drive. So a lot of weight of the car is in the back, uh, and so that makes it more of a handful. You're turning the car through the fastest turns, through that turn leading onto the front straight, with the throttle a bit of getting the rear end to step out slightly to help you turn. Um, and then also, because you have so much weight in the back, the front doesn't have that much weight on it, which means getting the car to turn is tougher. You got to be careful on the brakes, careful on the steering inputs to not burn off your front tires because there's so much weight in the back. So that's the challenge here, but it's fun and it's not so easy, and we'll see how all this works out in the race. So let's get to it. So we're starting, I think, about 20th or 16th or so.
The track temp is 107 Fahrenheit.
A lot of cars. So I think like a 24 car field. We did qualify, and it was the best lap I've ever put in at this track in this car. Uh, so to still qualify 16th tells you how tough the competition is. Ran a bit wide there, and car behind me got a little bit of a look up the inside. And somebody's already diving in the pits there, it looks like. So let's step back for a second and let's look at this from the chase view. The first lap's always kind of the most interesting in terms of traffic and what have you. We'll go from far chase. All right. So we got a great launch. That's just kind of eyeballing it. I didn't have the clutch bite dialed in for this car, but still using it with the setting for a previous car and kind of guessing at the RPMs to start with. But it worked out great that time. So here, kind of staying to the inside, not really the optimal line, but it leaves you more of the control in your hands. When you're to the outside, you're at the mercy of the other cars, the other drivers. This turn right there that we just went through is easy to spin on cold tires, and it's easier to spin oddly when we got a little bit loose there. Um, when you're taking it easy because you're not weighting the rear tires by being on the throttle and having that weight shift back to the rear tires. If you take it at like 70%, you're more likely to spin out because the weight is kind of in the middle of the car, not at the front or the rear. And so that's probably a good point to talk about here too, is transferring the weight in this car. Um, Whoop, got super loose there. But recovered, lost quite a few spots. Making a mistake early and everybody's bunched up, you can definitely lose a lot of spots. And then people get really aggressive trying to take advantage of any kind of error by anybody else. So maybe there's a good spot to do it. Um, let's, let's find a better angle here. Okay. So if most of the weight is towards the back of the car in this car, to get the front tires to plant, like going through this long left-hander, you need to hit the brakes both to slow the car down to make it through the turn, but also to transfer that weight forward. So if you imagine like maybe a pole sticking out of the top of the car and a big weight sitting up here at the top, that weight is transferring forward as you get on the brakes. So when you get on the brakes really hard, a lot of the weight transfers quickly to the front, uh, which helps those front tires plant into the ground, which helps them have grip so you can make that turn. Conversely, it also unweights the rear a bit, so the rear tires now have a little bit less grip, which can help, like in this long left right-hander, because then I get back on the throttle hard, and the rear kind of wants to step out a little bit, which stepping out means the front is now pointed the way you want it to go, uh, and so it helps that slide. It can be a little bit hard to see, especially in the early laps, because I'm taking a little bit easier. Um, but the reverse is also true. So when you're coming out of a turn, the weight and you're accelerating hard, the weight's transferring back, and it's planting those rear tires harder, giving them more grip. This wing is also helping a little bit with the grip, but we're going kind of low speeds through most of this track. So the weight is transferring back when you're on the throttle hard, helping plant those rear tires, and it kind of unweights the front. But usually when you're accelerating hard, you're going in a straight line, so you don't really need that much steering. But that weight transfer back and forth is important in all race cars, and especially in this race car where you have all this weight at the rear of the car and hardly any at the front. Not burning off this tire, this left front tire coming through this long right hander is uh, part of the thing I struggle with here. Um, let's see if we can get a better view here. If we go cockpit view, let's back this up slightly. Okay, so we're gonna get on the brakes hard, turn the car kind of late, and then get on the throttle hard and get the rear end to step out slightly. And we're talking ever so slightly. You don't want it to. Um, Maybe we should go to the car behind us. Yeah, the car behind us. Okay, so we'll go cockpit view on this car, and we'll see if we can see it from this angle. So I slowed it down. So we're the yellow car right in front. And so watch the rear end start to step out ever so slightly. So the front wheels are kind of straightening. It gets a little bit of a run, so it's a little bit tough to see. Um, but at first we're turning the wheel in, and then the last part, we don't need to turn the wheel in because the rear end of the car is stepping out. So maybe we'll try this from R on board. Maybe that's easier to see. So you can see, okay, see the hands. The wheel is, we're turning the wheel hard to the right, braking hard, turning the wheel hard to the right, off the throttle, back on the throttle hard, straightening out the wheel, but the car is still turning because the rear end is slipping ever so slightly. Locked it up on the way in, so we locked. We had some locked up the front, and so that hurt us on entry right there. Right there, you can see that right front wheel lock up on the way in, and that causes us to run wide. You can see that. Uh, so if you watch this this right front wheel right here will lock up a few times, and also this brake pedal. I'm coming off the brake because I feel it locking up. I know it's locking up, and I'm not being able to turn. I have to come off the brake to get the wheel rolling again, and it starts to roll a little bit, and then I come back on the brake a little bit because I still got to slow down to make my turn. I'm off the brake, trying not to tear up that tire, but I have to get off the brake to get the car rolling again because basically I've gotten on the brake a little too hard, and uh, so that then causes us to slide wide here, which opens the door for the car behind us to come right through. So that's how you screw that up and lose a spot. Maybe we should look at this from his angle. Yeah, this might be interesting too to see how this looks when you're the oops when you're the car following this. So here we go. We'll go at half speed. So we're going in. We should start turning in now, but we're drifting straight. We're still going straight. The car is not turning. Our car, yellow car there is not turning, and so he sees that and just following the line that he should be on, and leaves a little bit of space to the left, knowing that we're still there. And he's correcting a few times because he can't run as wide as he would normally like, and I'm on the throttle still trying to fight back over there. I'm not making it easy, taking a defensive line into this turn, and so now he's not where he wants to be. He's too far outside, uh, but still trying to use that momentum, and I'm able to hold the spot. So he got a little bit loose on board with us here. And again, you hear that sound? That's the tires sliding. So let's go on board for a second. Uh, so there's these numbers right here. It's easier to see on the straightaway. There's numbers right here. Those are the tire pressures, and we're basically at 22 pounds on the left sides and 21 pounds right now on the right sides. They all started at 20.5 pounds, but they've built up 2 pounds of pressure already in 4 laps, and this is a 35 lap race. So ideal is probably around 24 pounds of pressure. So you start below the ideal because it's going to build up. And once you start getting to 25, 25 and a half, 26, it's definitely too hot, too much pressure. And you can think of it in terms of temperature or pressure. The temperature causes the pressure to build. So as we go through this turn, we're at 22.9 pounds on the left front entering the turn, and we're at 23.1 coming out. So we just gained zero point 0.2 pounds of pressure just in that one turn. It is the toughest turn on the left front tire. And now we get another 0.1 through turn 1 and 2. So this is one of the few left-handers on the track. So it's okay to kind of abuse the right side tires on that turn, because basically most of the rest of the track is abusing the other side. This is the other left-hander. We see the correction there. This is also a tight right-hander. Again, kind of abusing that right front tire, especially if you get on the throttle too early. Now we're up to 23.4. So we've gained half a pound, 0.6 of a pound in one lap. Gained a little bit more. Now we're up to 23.7 pounds in the left front tire. Oh, some guys had a problem there. Oh, somebody really had a problem there. So that might have been interesting. Got somebody on their lid over here. Uh, let's back up here. See if we can figure out what happened there. All right. So it looks like these are the guys that had some fun here on their lids. Let's try watching this. Some guy dive bombs the inside. That didn't quite work. Somebody else comes in, plows in, pops that guy over. Okay, interesting. All right, so maybe we can watch this from a better view. All right, so what's going on here? So the 5 car here thinks he's going to dive bomb that turn. So the braking zone is right here where this little piece of asphalt is. That's about where you want to start hitting the brakes and start turning in. So these guys are a little bit wide, which I don't know. Maybe that's how the way faster guys do it. Um, let's see. We'll go half speed. So this guy's kind of making it known, hey, I'm going to dive up the inside. Uh, the other guy's taking his normal kind of line through there. This guy's carrying way too much speed to be able to, or a little bit too much speed to be able to make it through. And then somebody else comes and punts him. Um, so uh, he's getting 5 car didn't get enough turning done yet. He's coming in too hot and too straight, because normally you want to do more of your turning before you get to the turn. And this guy's taking his normal line like nobody else is there, basically. We're not leaving much room. So he could be a little bit, he's leaving the door open quite a bit, and this guy's coming in real straight. So they're definitely on a collision course, and they collide. So the other question is, what does this next guy see? Right, so he's back here. So he's back here, and he can see those guys up there going in side by side. We're watching at half speed. So he sees them go in side by side into turn 1. He can see the collision start to happen. Sees them getting into it. Uh, and he just has the wheel fully cranked all the way over and plows into that car and takes off. All right, let's find ourselves again. Oh, car behind me lost it under acceleration. That was pretty good. So we'll check and see where we're at in the running order right now after those 3 cars wrecked. We cross the line here. So we're currently running in 11th. We started in 16th. Oh, ran a little bit wide there on entry. On exit, not too bad. So maybe that was a good line. Let's back that up right there. That's probably a little bit hard to see, but and notice something. The angle of the car as it comes through here, if you watch carefully, the rear end is starting to step out. As the car comes through here, watch the rear end, rear tires compared to where the front tires are. Uh, so this there's a black line, a seam in the track here. So it's kind of a good reference point. Uh, so watch where the front tire, the front right edge of that tire is compared to the right rear edge of that tire as we come through here. The rear, what I think I'm seeing is the rear end is stepping out slightly as we're coming through here. We're using the throttle to steer the car, getting the rear end to swing out a little bit wider, but under control. It's ever so slight, and we got the same thing going on over here, where the rear end is kind of stepping out slightly. And so what you'll see in the in car when we're doing this, or we can see it right here with these controls. The wheel is turned to the left as we're going through a left-hander, as you'd expect. Uh, and then as we start doing this, we start turning to the right slightly. We're straightening out the wheel ever so slightly, using the throttle. Straighten out the wheel a lot, straighten out the wheel a bunch, and then now turning back to the left again to get to the left side of the track for the right-hander coming up right here. So um, let's look at this just one more time from in-car. So watch the hands here. Correcting. Straighten it out, and then back to the left again. So all of that is controlling that rear of the car sliding out and using the throttle to get it to slide, and then using the steering to keep that slide under control. And you see a little bit of the same thing right there of correcting it on the way out of there. So this is going on constantly. This makes this car a handful to drive, but also fun because you're constantly working the wheel and working the throttle uh, in order to drive it at the limit and keep it under control and not wreck everywhere and try to be fast. Well, the last lap was a 55.794. That's I think my best lap, or that tied my qualifying lap. So I'm definitely on it at this point uh, in terms of pace. This is the fastest I'm able to drive. This is lap 8. Our front left tire is already up to 24.8 pounds of pressure, and we have 20 something laps to go. Uh, what is that? Uh, can't do my math right now. 27 laps to go. Um, so we're going to be killing our tires. Our tires are optimum right now, and we still have basically 3/4 of the race left. But, oh, we took very different lines through there. You can see I drifted out.
You're blinking.
I was wide right there, and that's why this guy got me. Let's back this up. This is definitely a weak spot for me on this track. So let's go on board with Troy here. So actually, let's back it up the turn before. We had very different lines somewhere here. No, maybe it wasn't that far back. Okay, so now let's go half speed. So I drove it in too deep. I got on the brakes too late, carried too much speed in the turn. I'm still turning, and I should already be straight. I was still turning, and so he was able to. Uh, he took that turn at a better speed, a slower speed, stayed to the inside, got his car turned, got it straightened out for the straightaway, and then got on the throttle hard. And we were still trying to turn. We were still on partial throttle when he was already able to get on full throttle. And so he gets that run up the inside. Um, and so let's look at this from our point of view coming just into this last turn here. So we know he's on the inside, and uh, I expect him to be there. Saw him come over in the mirror. And so now the thing is, where stay wide, stay wide, stay wide, see where he is. Okay, this is where he is, and are we going to try to do a crossover? Are we going to try to make him nervous here? How safe is he going to be? How much speed is he going to have? And uh, he took it pretty good. So we don't really have a chance here, but trying to make him a little bit nervous by looking like we're going to go up the inside and see that cars up there spinning out. So maybe there's still going to be an opportunity here. See, now that time he went a little bit wide. We were able to stick closer to the apex of the turn, get back on the throttle, but uh, wasn't enough. So, all right, let's skip ahead, see if there's another incident here to look at. Um, Something happens here. These guys touch a little bit. Ooh, he's probably not happy about that. And there goes us.
Nice dive bomb there, David.
Some guys complaining about those antics. Jump to the next issue, next incident. Oh, this guy spun it by himself. Easy to do. Same guy again, next incident. And he loses the rear end again. Just on the throttle too hard. Rear tires probably too hot. And looks like that was the end of his race. There's our pit guy. Jump to the next incident. Oh, uh-oh, it's us. And we spin it into that same wall. So what happened here? All right, let's back this up. So we'll go chase view. So half speed. So the rear tires get onto the dirt over here. Both right side tires onto the dirt, and I'm on the throttle hard, and that's all it took. I got on the brakes as quickly as I could because I knew I was going for a spin, uh, and then trying to get the thing in gear, get going again. And I saw cars coming. Had to wait for them to come by, wait for an open spot, and then try to get back going again. And that's that. Okay, next incident. Oh, I lost it right in front of this guy, and this guy was just focused on it and ran right into him. It's easy to kind of focus right on the car in front of you and do whatever he does, make whatever mistake he makes. Uh, okay, next incident. This guy just ran wide by himself. This guy crashed by himself. Maybe. Oh, he might have had help. Oh no, he lost it by himself. All right, next incident. Oh, car behind us. Not sure what the incident was. He locked up the brakes. And this is us on lap 27.
Thank you.
I don't see any incident here. This is towards the end. This is lap 31. Somebody else lost it. All right. See any other incidents here. Oh, that wasn't going to work out.
Like, what the fuck? Aaron, what the hell is that? Like, what the fuck?
He was unhappy about that. Complained about it for quite a while. Luckily, I found the mute driver button on my wheel, and so I didn't have to hear that. And let's go to the pits. He's still complaining.
Actually, Jesse, I was like,
I don't need to hear that. All right, so results. We ended up in what is this? 14th place. Started 16th, ended up 14th, but yeah, it was fun. Let's see how our laps were. Let's switch to us. We're a different driver here. Oh, we can't see our laps.
not ignoring blue flag.
Nope, having technical issues here.
You've got 1 gallon left. Da Silva has just retired from the race.
Technical issues. Oh well. Looks like we're not going to see our lap times, but I felt like lap times really dropped off towards the end. The left front tire was overheated, and we dropped down to like a 57.7 was about where we were at the end for pace, and our fastest lap of the race was a 55.7. But I just abused the tires too much early on, and that was basically the story. Um, Qualified at a 56.53. Um, so, fun times. Thanks for watching.